Welcome, everybody. I didn't have the dump brand up. I had something different, so that was a new start for us on a Wednesday.
And that was the stock opener right there.
Definitely. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it was a good one. Hope everybody's doing well. It's Wednesday. It's the what do we want to call this one? It's the Mad Stump, even though neither one of them are here. But I am for once, so that's pretty good. Say hello to the panel before we start saying hello to the chat. We got Slender Dad with us. What's up?
Hello.
I like Gal Gadot, question mark, more like Gal Gadot. Gadot.
Oh, that was left over from our show. He hasn't changed it yet. There you
go. I gotta wait for the inspiration to strike, man. I can't change it until I think of something.
You gotta feel it. Hopefully we give you some inspiration tonight. What's up, little Chad?
Not much, just hanging out.
Good.
Having a good Wednesday time here on your channel. Good to see you on it.
Yeah, man. We're gonna try to start doing Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time, because Yelling at Parked Cars has moved. Oh shit, that was me. Moved to Wednesday nights from Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So we're gonna go right before them, and hopefully they'll give us a shout out or something. But let's shout out the couple people that are in the chat. We have Bad Take Bojans, who I don't know if she went live with that new video, but that video was great. Pretty much of me doubling down on Blue Beetle.
Your Blue Beetle prediction is looking better. It just now needs to overperform by another $25 million, and you've got a shot.
Yeah. What did I say? Over 30?
You said it would beat the Flash's opening weekend, which was 55.
I did end with that, didn't I? What was that?
Yeah,
35?
55.
55. I started with 30, though.
You started, and if you'd stayed there, you would have been good. It's looking like around 28, 30.
You overcommitted. You
got excited.
You started in a good place, and then you ran with it, and you went to a bad place.
You went big. You went for the hard 8 when you were having a winning. when you were doing pretty well, and now you're going to crap out.
I still believe it's going to do at least 30 mil. 55. If it hits 55, I am taking a win on this one.
I am shocked that it jumped up so far. It was tracking down consistently from its original, and now Deadline did the story yesterday that new tracking has it 28 to 30 and probably going to be #1 over Barbie.
Well, put it this way. I think people are underestimating, like I said before, the appeal of Zilo, what's his name?
Jolo.
The young actor, most big time in the Latin community, but also young girl, teenage girls, teenage guys. He's a likable person on the screen, and white liberal women who love what he sometimes tweets out or posts. I think it's going to do, I knew it would do over 30. I have a feeling it's going to do over 30. I should have just shut my mouth there, but what are you going to do?
You would have looked great coming out of that one.
I'm still sticking with it, though.
It would have been now you're having to stick with the 55 plus.
Yeah. It's out there. Shit. But I did start with the 30. I think I had to combat everybody else. There is Bad Takes Bojan. What is up?
Hello. Sorry for the delay. I had computer issues. I'm going to say it's the idiot behind the monitor, but I don't want to admit that. So,
well, it's good to have you. We're going to say hi to the chat, and then my great guesstimate of 30 million, not 55, 30 million. Keely Chow is here. What's up, Keely? Jim,
you got 55 and $1. 55 million and $1. Price is Right rules. You're over.
I'm going for it though, man.
30 million was a good estimate, but then what happened was you got baited, and you took the bait.
It was you guys all were after me, so I had to even go.
I think me and Culture were really going hard about how this thing was going to bomb, and it pushed him soon.
Yeah. What is up, Pops? How are you?
How are you? How's everybody doing? Hail to chat. Hail to everybody. Sorry, I meant to tell you I was going to be able to pop by for a little while, and I'm glad I did. Thank you so much.
Man. Glad you're
Is
here.
that a Star Wars Dark Empire CGC graded copy behind your shoulder?
That is a Dark Empire CGC. My pit #1, my CGC Dark Empire, my Gleason Red Spider-Man, my Death Dealer, and then there's a Ghost Rider. I rotate them around, but those are
nice.
You know what comic I just got? Bonds Volume 2, The Cursed Child by Nerium. There you go, right
very
there.
cool.
Bonds. I'm a little pissed, not because of them, but because of the people that delivered it messed up the box. But
that almost happened to us too. Jacob rescued it as the mail person, lovely lady that she is, was trying to shove it into the mailbox, and he went,
suck.
"No."
They do suck. But she is so good. I love
yeah.
the first one is up over there. I really enjoyed it. So I can't wait to read this one. I don't want to mess it up too much.
So do you have like a legit mailbox, or do you have one of those like apartment style ones where?
No, legit.
Because
good size.
I heard a thing because my subdivision, they're not putting any mailboxes in, even though it's single family homes. There's just the like little communal mail zone where it has the apartment style things, and that's because the post office is cheap and they don't want to hire people to cover delivering mail.
Look how
little Chad, you think you got it bad. We have one of those boxes, but it's like 3 miles down the road from where I live.
Oh, that sucks even more.
You got a guy playing a banjo every time you step out the door, so it makes sense.
Well, our lovely mail delivery person once took the gorgeous North Face jacket that I bought my son on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's a 9.8.
She broke the packet. She broke the hanger in half, rolled up the coat, and shoved it in the mailbox.
Messed up. That is gorgeous. Can we see that one more time, though?
Sure.
That is messed up.
Sorry,
did you buy that as a 9.8, or did you have it?
Mine.
So you managed to get one in the 90s, bagged and boarded, solid enough that it graded a 9.8.
I'm that kind of nerd. Yes.
Fantastic. That's good work.
Now, I bought the pit. I bought the sketch Spawn and the Gleason. The others were mine.
Nice.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, I only really buy. We're debating whether or not we want to buy lower grades on like the like the uber high end stuff. You know what I mean? And then like sell it and keep scaling up. And I regret not doing that because I had like some early Avengers stuff, like 47, like early, like the Black Knight first appearance, and I did it pretty well on it. But I wish I had just taken that money and then just scaled it up to like a 7 or something, and just kind of keep scaling.
So one of the nice tricks you can do to scale it up is to buy the lower grade ones that are rated for yellow pages or dirty pages.
Get them pressed and cleaned.
Well, not to, you can do it on the cheap, because if you get like the unscented, like just the base Swiffer pads, they will clean old newsprint pages pretty solid. They'll take dust and grime off. No, you got to get the like ones that are just like the no sense.
So
no
not
this,
the
no
wet
that.
one, just the old school, really.
Yeah, because
awesome.
pressing stuff is you might have to pay more than you're going to get out of the increase in, depending on what kind of book you got.
Yeah, I have a guy. I don't do it myself. I don't pay for them. I definitely don't trust them to do it. Definitely don't trust them to do it.
I was going to say the Swiffer trick is good usually for a grade or two higher, and it's only cost you like cents on the dollar, like to do it.
Yeah, no, trust me. I have my long list of mistakes where I missed something. Probably the biggest one I missed on was I have a Venom, like a variant Venom cover, a Virgin Beautiful Venom book. And there's only, it's really rare. It's only like 1,500 copies of them. And then, but on the back, the presser and cleaner missed it well, or he didn't point it out. There's like, it's like the size of like the tip of your finger. It's a blemish on the back. And we all missed it. And it came back as a 9.
On the plus side, you got to feel good that the graders actually did notice it, because CGCs, I've seen some fun things where people will take 9.8s, take them out of the case and send them back, and they'll get 9.2s. Or take the other direction. They'll take 9s, 9.2s, crack them open. Don't do anything. Send them to go to a show where they're doing it live at the show, and they will always grade higher.
I would expect them to grade higher at a show. They're actually grading at a show. I look for things that are like a 9.6 with an old label, and then see if I have, why is it a 9.6? If I can see like tick marks and things like that to get it pressed and cleaned. I only done it like once or twice, but anyway. So,
but
I didn't mean to derail the show into comic books.
What is it that someone needs to be considered an actual grader?
So right now, the biggest grader is CGC. It's a company that's based out of Florida.
Mhm.
And what you're doing is you are paying someone else with their grading program to certify a certain grade. So now you and I don't have a dispute over it. We're agreeing that the CGC grader is sort of our mediator. Whereas before, Scott, you and I might dispute the quality of that book, and you're like, I'm like,
Right.
no, it's mint, it's beautiful. You're like, well, no, I don't want to pay you that much. It's only worth this much. Now, by getting them graded, now, of course, the negative of that is we can't physically handle the book; it's encased. Now, I purposely did that with certain books because I wanted to make sure they weren't, if they will fall off a shelf, or I wanted them for posterity's sake, something like. Because I've read all these books, and plus I have them digitally and what. I actually gave my reader copy to my future son-in-law because he had never read Dark Empire, and I said, "Well, I'm going to get you hooked on Dorman covers. Even if you don't like the art on the inside, you're going to love these books. They're beautiful."
Yeah. Which is so Sporty. This started in the '90s with baseball cards. Beckett.
I remember that. Yeah.
So
Beckett.
that. And what happened is with the combination of eBay and independent grading, which made it so when you sell something online, people have a certain confidence in paying.
Okay.
Super inflated baseball card prices made them much more tangible, easy to sell and turn. So then CGC started in the mid-late 90s and was like, well, if that works for baseball cards, which is kind of the same type of collecting, trading, selling thing, we'll apply that to comic books, which was another thing where when you go to a show, I mean, I used to do it all the time. I would talk guys down. I'd be like, you got chipped pages, you got this, you got that. I got my brother a first appearance of Hawkman that ended up grading at a 7 for the equivalent of like a 3.5 price, because I just talked the guy down because he was at a show and he wanted to sell it.
Right.
And I was like, dude, I was telling my brother, I was being the bad cop. I was like, you don't want to buy that one. It's got off-white pages. It's chipped. It's this, it's that. It'll never grade higher than like a 3. That's so the grade. There's also a competitive company because Beckett bought one of the competition for CGC. There's basically 2 comic grading companies. CGC is the gold standard, but they also price the highest. There's another company because I've used them, which that grades comics.
The CGCBS,
the CGCBS, and they were at the time about half the price for doing the same thing. They've gotten a little higher because once Beckett bought them and kind of expanded their operation and things. But they're also an option too. But
they're very solid, my opinion, because it's a guy who it's one of the. I think was he a co-founder of CGC? I know he worked there and he was high end. He left and founded it, and one of the things that he brings to the table that you don't get is they will authenticate the autographs because his background and trope, they'll authenticate autographs. The only way to get that through CGC is you have to be there when they do it.
Yeah, so there's a fun thing like CGC will go to comic book shows, the big ones, and they will when people are signing. They have witnesses who will go with you to the tables to witness the writer or the artist autographing it. And then when they go back, they will then authenticate that it was a legitimate Herb Tremblay, Charles Soule, whoever was at the table. I use those names because that's the last time I saw someone witnessing them was when Herb Tremblay was still around and they were doing that Death of Wolverine. So they had those special covers they were doing, but they will do that, and then you go back and you pay an extra fee for it because then it's a witness signature and it's authenticated. And instead of that blue label like he has on his, those ones will have a yellow label, I believe is the signature series for CGC.
Correct.
Yeah, so they'll have a yellow label, and they're very nice for display. You can see they've got the covers exposed. And what's cool is on the label on top, it'll say if they're if that is a key issue for something like first appearance or this or that, it'll list it right out under the next to the grade. It'll be first appearance of the Punisher. This,
because in the 90s, I used to collect, but I wasn't a collector. Things I liked, I would put them in plastic, throw a board just so they wouldn't get damaged.
Yeah,
but
9.8 is about the highest score you'll get. I've never 9.8s are the highest. That means basically perfect, right off the printing press.
This right here, you can kind of see some of they'll put first appearance and special stuff and notes. You'll get special notes in this little label area right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
And
That's
what's interesting is if you can go and look at the statistics, and it'll tell you on the CGC website for like this issue how
Mhm.
many ever have been graded 9.8, 9.6, 9.7.
Oh, wow.
Like, so you can see like there might only be 1,000 9.8s of this comic in the world. So when you're
Got
like
one.
bidding online, if you're selling it on eBay, you'll put like only 1,000 9.8s of Dark Star Wars Dark Empire #1, and it'll inflate the value more. I think Eric July,
I'll pull it up for you.
yeah, even did is doing a CGC series run like for his
Correct.
ice, and that's why those ones are a little pricier. It costs about $30 to $40
Mm-hmm.
to grade a book,
Oh, wow.
depending on the like turnaround time you want and some of the other features you might be doing.
I got you.
So,
That's pretty
so
sweet.
you only want to grade ones that you feel are actually investment pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people are asking me like, should I grade all my books? It's like, no, you only grade ones that are going to be worth, like you're going to be inputting an additional $30-40 minimum into grading this book. You better make sure that actually is going to
good
be
enough.
worth it for you.
Right.
So
Lodanos, do you grade anything?
No, not lately. Just my own life. I hear a lot of nerd talk going on, so I just wanted to come in and listen. How you doing, guys?
So much nerd talk. I'm not used to it. We're kind of more poppy culture, but I love hearing this stuff because I used to love comic books. I have comic books that I've had for years. A lot of them got stolen, but whatever. But it's funny how something you enjoyed as a child, how it can easily become worth so much later on in life.
Chad, you need to hit me up so we can do a stream. We'll just do a CGC stream. We'll just talk
Oh,
about
that'd be
it.
Yeah,
awesome.
you
That'd be
should.
fun. We should do that.
You know who doesn't grade a 9.8? Rachel Zegler.
Oh,
Like how I did that kind of.
force
Yeah,
shoehorn that segue in there, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Shoehorn it
brother.
in there.
Thank you.
Well, if you scroll down to her Snow White outfit, I'm gonna grade that one. That one's definitely a 2 to 3.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's got it's loose fitting.
Yep.
It's off white Snow White.
She needs a
It's,
cheeseburger.
chip, whatever.
I just love branding experts warn Rachel Zegler backlash could ruin Disney's big budget Snow White remake and predict executives will be having crisis talks in order to win back fans ahead of 2024 release.
How bad is it now, Scott, when the Access media starts calling this out?
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know
terrible.
if Daily Mail counts exactly as traditional access media. They'll call out everyone on all sides to get clicks. So
Well, we'll see
Okay.
who else has.
Fair enough.
Daily Mail
I mean-
to me has been around long enough. What do you think, Tina?
I was gonna say I would. They're more gossipy than I
Mhm.
wouldn't like, but I
New
thought
York
the
Post?
article was too good to pass up. But
Mhm.
need to take my medication so I don't go crazy bitch on you guys. But I was going to comment on her costume. I mean, that doesn't even look nice enough to be sold at a Disney store.
Right.
no, I think
Let
I've
alone
seen
worn in
at the
the movie.
Bibbidi Boppity Boutique the trans person working there had a better outfit.
Yeah.
than Rachel Zegler did.
Crazy.
So what is the deal there? Are they going to touch it up in post with like CG or what?
Well, you see all the stuff in her hair, so I mean that might have been
Like beforehand.
like that could be a costume. Like they could be doing, the in superhero movies they have what comes to mind is Captain America's shield. Like they had like 4 different versions for different scenes or shots because of lighting. Like they had what they called the hero one that was
Mhm.
like all metal, that was for like close-up scenes. Then they had like a rubber one that was for action scenes, so that Chris Evans, like, I'm sure there's versions when you're doing like a Disney princess costume, there's probably for different shots they might have ones that are just maybe a little looser fitting because she's going to have to go running and they don't want her,
Right.
who knows.
Some
don't-
close-ups, a
I'm-
little bit more.
I mean, I also even don't judge the color because they're going to go through color correction.
Mhm.
Like, if anybody wants to know about that, look at what you can do with Zack Snyder's movies when you saw like
Can they go through actor correction?
you're going to hope so, right?
She's
This-
It's kind of like
Been
the
hoping so for a while.
She is about to be. She could have a 3 strikes and you're out for killing 3 franchises. Like she was in the West Side Story
Yep.
reboot that bombed historically bad.
Yep.
She's about to be in the Hunger Games prequel, which has a shot
Yeah.
at bombing historically bad and killing Hunger Games. And then they're bringing, and if you don't count Shazam 2, which whatever. and then she'll be in Snow White. Like her filmography is just bomb after bomb after bomb, and people keep investing in her, and I don't get it.
She ticks some boxes.
So, Chad, do you think that she can achieve Brie Larson status?
Ooh.
No, because Brie Larson always gets to say she's an Oscar winner.
There you go.
That's a really good point. But I think that she's on her way there. I mean, granted, this little apology BS wasn't even for this. This was when she had a little mental health crisis.
This one right here, right?
Yeah,
I think this was last year when she did West Side Story, right? When she was doing.
So let's see what she has to
West
say.
Side Story.
But
Simultaneously,
mental health crisis? Are we serious? Speaking as a veteran who has some friends who have actual mental health issues, these people don't know what mental health crisis is.
No, they don't.
Wishing people would stop sending me death threats. And maybe that's a weird takeaway for this video. This is a life. This is real. It's filled with a lot of beautiful moments and beautiful people. I have a loving family, an incredible boyfriend that I love so much, beautiful friends and family, people that I miss. It's a privilege to miss people the way that I do, but it's hard.
Did she edit a highlight reel into her mental health video?
Same thing, man. Did she literally take the time? Well, she did. Her aide.
I'm going to get the B-roll from Entertainment Tonight and work that into my little Instagram video.
It is pathetic.
It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay. Maybe that's a weird takeaway.
She is crying as much as Amber Heard did at the Johnny Depp trial.
Oh, she's so bad. She's such a bad actress.
Supposed to be anything other than...
Yeah.
And her eyes are really wide apart. It's kind of off-putting.
And you need to talk to your boyfriend, because why the hell didn't he stop you?
Yeah, well, and then after that, she does stuff like this.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with the guy who literally stalks her.
How does he stalk her? He is a prince that's going through the woods and bumps into her, hears her.
She's singing about love.
Yes,
there's no
She's
focus
singing about
on the love
to
story. Yes, it is a big part of the conclusion, but I don't think the prince is in 90% of the movie, right? He's not even there.
I absolutely agree. I mean, at least for Sleeping Beauty, in Sleeping Beauty, the prince was sent to the castle to go see what they could do about all these people that have been sleeping for 20 years.
Right.
I mean, this prince just runs into her, like you said, in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prince Charming versus is it Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty?
Correct.
I forget what it is.
Right,
he actually has to fight the Maleficent dragon. He actually has to do some stuff. I mean,
this
but
is the typical, face tattoo, gauge in the ears thing. It's like, what are you looking at, dude? It's like, oh, I want to be a celebrity. I'm all front and center. Go see my movies. Oh, by the way, I don't want any negative press, and don't be mean to me and whatever. And it's like, but that's what's going to happen. I'm sorry. I don't know what kind of bubble you think you live in. And if you don't want all that stuff, then just don't have the account. No one's requiring you to have the Twitter accounts and all these other stuff.
I will say that these two clips where she's doing the interview with Gal Gadot, and where she's doing this red carpet statement, it was at D23, which is Disney's every other year super Disney
September
nerd convention,
somewhere around there.
D23 is for people who are in effectively the high end Disney fan club, and they go to a convention just to hear about ride maintenance at the parks and things that's what D23 does.
It's a little bit of oversimplification, because I was in D23 at one point. There was some really cool stuff that comes out of D23. It's a Comic-Con. It's a Disney Comic-Con, basically. Yeah.
So everything coming out of Rachel Ziegler's mouth for these two things is official Disney statements.
Oh yeah.
She was coached. She was told because Gail, you can see in the interview where they're sitting down, and then in this, they are giving the same answers.
Right.
Gail Gadot even jumps in and was like, "There's not going to be a prince with the saving her this time." It's
no
canned
answers
in
this one. Yeah.
This is when everyone's getting upset at her, but this is actually what we were finding out. This is Disney's position on the Snow White remake they're making. These are actors parroting PR. They get a little bullet point sheet of things they're supposed to say. on these and that, so this one is, I don't even blame Rachel Ziegler for this, because she's just saying what she was told to say.
She's enjoying. Yeah, you're right. She's playing it up, but I think go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, like, a lot. I'm seeing a lot in this generation, women being taught that if a man shows interest in you, that they're stalking you. Yeah. They're automatically stalking you. You know, like showing any interest in a woman or a young woman in today's age is looked at as toxic. Yeah. You know, so I think I see the way that she's smiling and saying that, and it reminds me of, you know, a lot of the talking points that you see in social media that's geared toward young women.
Right. They're like, unless it's like some type of dating app where you can swipe the person away, you know, like physical contact or even being in the same space as somebody and looking at them, like that is not stalking. Approaching somebody and trying to strike up a conversation because you find the person to be attractive is not stalking.
Well, it's about the valuation and emasculation of men.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's just another tactic, and it just seems like it's going along that line with what she's saying or the statements that are being made about this film.
Yep. No.
Well, go ahead, I gotta push back on Little Chat a little. Like, yes, I have no doubt that Disney marketing crafted all of these statements during this thing, but that doesn't make her blameless. Like,
she was loving it.
Here's the thing: unless you are so willing to whore yourself out for those millions of dollars, you didn't have to say that.
Right.
You could have said something that wasn't completely off its rocker. You could have pushed back on the marketing people and said, no one's going to like it if I say this, and I don't want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't. You let them just shove their hand fully up your ass and work your mouth like you're a hand puppet, and you will say exactly what they tell you to say because you want that money and you want that fame. And as long as you slobber all over Mickey Mouse's dick, you're going to get that fame.
And you get, I'm sorry, the fame that you what you need to give up in your soul to be an A-lister in Hollywood. We have heard rumblings for years what people give up. The idea of this, you know, I'm not going to throw out religious terms, but this demonic idea of just hedonism and self-loathing and just giving up your morality to be famous. Is disgusting to me, just for money and fame.
So, I mean, can I be the voice of opposition a little bit in the sense of, I don't know that she's as brainwashed. I think I'm not as willing to attribute as much malice to her personally as ignorant and stupid and sheeple. Like the generation has been complaining about Snow White not giving up permission for this kiss for almost 10 years now. So she's a product of this sort of brainwashing of, oh, no, we want a brown Snow White, and she's going to be a leader, and it's not about the prince, and it's not like dwarves. They're like creatures, and it's all of that bundled together has been in the works for this entire production, rather than like, here's your talking points for D23. I just think that this is how she thinks of all. I don't even think they have to go through that much work to program her. Now, have they programmed her along the way? Kind of, because this is the product that they're putting together this whole way. Reality is it's all bubbling to the surface because we're getting closer and closer to this thing actually happening. Plus, we're in the wake of Little Mermaid, which they didn't dodge, the bullets on that one either. So, I think she's just naive, and for some reason they don't gag her because she just keeps doing this kind of stuff. These quotes and comments just keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, granted, these quotes were in 2022.
I mean, these are all like a year or two old.
Yes.
Something else I've noticed with this younger generation, though, they are really good at lying to themselves.
Oh God, yeah. Well,
like I don't think I was ever that good at lying to myself. Like I try, I'm like, yeah, we're good this month. I'm gonna make all my bills on time. It's gonna be great. I know I'm lying to myself when I say that. Right. They don't know they're lying to themselves
because it's indoctrination. Like I think Pops is hitting on a point where it's like she's been listening to things like this for 10 years. You know, we're going to diversify these characters. We're going to race swap them because, because
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do with German fables.
Did anybody used to watch Seinfeld when it was on? You remember the episode when Jerry's taking the lie detector test about watching Melrose Place, and he's trying to get George to tell him how to beat a lie detector. Mm-hmm. And George just looks at him right in the eye and goes, "It's not a lie if you believe it."
Yeah.
That's true. Now, I want to ask, before I play this one where she contradicts herself, Tina, you responded to this one about Jeremy Renner, who I don't know any of these people personally, but from reports and things he has done, even before his accident, like trying to help people with restoring vehicles and this and that. Like, he's a blue collar type actor who became an A-lister because of the Avengers. Why did she get involved in his custody battle? Do you know? Like, or was it just random?
I have no idea. I don't know if it was maybe because it was a while ago, that it was maybe a pivotal point in her adolescence. Maybe she knew someone who was going through, a divorce, or maybe her own parents were. I don't know. But yeah, she came out very, very.
I mean, it
against.
was in the
It was
news,
trendy.
yeah,
it
and
was
to the
trendy a
point
while
where
on.
people were trying to get him taken out of Endgame and like basically and not done. And the Hawkeye TV show, they were trying to cancel him and have him removed from
I
that.
do remember that. Okay,
So
yeah.
like
Yeah.
because
Which is
there were
trendy.
allegations of abuse, it looks like it's just a really angry, bitter divorce.
Correct.
Both,
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing: as someone who has been through a divorce, as someone who has, friends who have had custody battles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that there are no good guys in those things. Like, it's
Right.
bad all around. It brings out the worst in people.
Yep.
The whole reason you're getting divorced is because you're not the people you fell in love with anymore, often
Right.
on both sides. Like, it's poison. It sucks. It's awful. I wish it didn't have to happen, but there's no such thing as a divorce that ends well.
Right.
I don't know about that, Slender.
There are a
When
few.
I got divorced from my ex-wife, we had sex the entire time, and then we just went our separate ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, that might be its own kind of poison.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
here's
that
an
divorce didn't go that bad.
No, she's about to like. I know one of the talking points that we've been talking is the female empowerment angle. But if you think about like the original Snow White, the Wicked Queen is the boss of everything. Like, she's running the kingdom. She tries to get the huntsman to kill her and bring back her heart, and then when he fakes that, she's got like. She's running it. So it is a female empowerment story. It's a girl boss story, and it's pretty accurate about how sometimes that goes. So
Yeah. I like this though, because I also was like, oh, she's young. That's why she's like arrogant and rude and just doesn't really sense how she's coming off. But I think it does go beyond that.
She might be
She
bad.
is perfectly representative of her generation.
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, you're right. And then what did you say, Steven?
She might be battling some types of insecurities, self-worth, being in a competitive environment and having to project an ego that isn't necessarily genuine, something that's,
Right.
Slightly maybe aggressive or comes off as condescending.
Right. All right. Let's play this little one here. And Script Doctor definitely, pointed out, Script Doctor, that I was wrong. I thought these were kind of newer, but they're 2022. But still, that was last year, people.
I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and it is I have to pretend like, oh God, well, crazy that we're in front of this.
Wait, how long?
It's like I'm standing there waiting for the photo op, being like,
Well, you kind of are,
No, I guess
like
so.
in Harrison Ford.
I'm Snow White!
No, you're not.
Is that your favorite ride? I mean, that's a weird thing that you are Snow White now.
I mean,
Wow.
it's one of the original. I'm a really big Disney fan. I grew up at the Disney parks. My parents took me every summer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's like it's a part of my upbringing. It's my favorite thing. So it's just one of those things
Yeah,
that comes with the
well,
territory.
then if you love it, don't let them scare you.
I was
can I just also say she's from New Jersey, so if
Yeah.
she was going to the Disney parks every summer, that's like
That's
thousands and thousands of dollars a vacation every summer. She's definitely not
Yes.
working class. Like,
Yeah.
Oh no,
I
she's
mean-
an all-girls Catholic school girl who was 16 when she got the West Side Story casting lottery from Spielberg. So she's been living this sort of like,
she got her foot in her
specials.
mouth when she was like, because some people were saying that they should have gone with a more, how do I put this, with someone actually Puerto Rican, if they, because live by the woke, die by the woke. She was basically telling them to F off. She's Latina enough for the role, and
oh yeah,
she got in
there's
trouble
that
for
other
that
video where they
Yeah.
ask her something about that.
Yeah.
Pops, what were you going to finish with that though?
Just that, because we, again, this is like child actor, like the mental illness that comes with like the child actor syndrome, because like she's never had such, she was in this group in New Jersey, all Catholic private school, this elite life, sucked up at 16 into Spielberg land, a celebrity this whole time. It's only been a few years, like she's only 22, so 6 years, half that's during the pandemic, and it's like she's not just in a bubble, she's in like 6 layers of the bubble right now, because it's still that high energy, high octane, super celebrity. Every magazine, every show, everyone's fawning over you. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. So she could just keep saying all these crazy, stupid things. And I think, as you guys were saying earlier, like fooling themselves, lying. They're literally living in this lie to themselves. And when this bubble bursts, let's say age 30, and all these movies have come to pass, and everything's a box office disaster, and no one cares about her,
right?
Then we'll know.
Well, and don't forget,
it's a naivety.
Real quick, Slender, I'll throw it to you, but let's not forget, at 22, you know everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know everything,
Don't we all?
right? We all know everything at 22.
I mean, I knew everything. I knew it all. But
absolutely.
And it's multiple levels of naivety. Of like I shipped out for the Navy at 19 years old. And honestly, a couple of my buddies in high school who ended up getting me recruited by the Navy in the first place because they dropped my name, and I had no intention of joining the Navy, but then the recruiter started calling me. Like,
did you get the T-shirt though?
I did.
Because Matt didn't get the
Let
T-shirt.
the journey begin, because we were still doing Let the Journey Begin when I was in the Navy. But like, there were bills I couldn't pay. There was, I got the yellow slip. Well, that's not the pink slip. So I got another 30 days before I really got to worry about that one. When I was going to the no questions asked food bank and just getting dehydrated milk, that you could mix with a little water so you could have a bowl of cereal. Like, these people have never wanted for anything.
No.
They've been insulated from reality, and
there's no life experience, right? There's no struggle, no life experience. She's fell backwards into, like I said, the West Side Story lottery under the Spielberg thing.
Look at the writer's strike. They're a prime example. Like, none of you have ever wanted for anything. You want to collect unemployment while you're on strike?
Yeah.
Well, okay,
so certain states allow it.
Yeah, so I think it's legal there. But more importantly, too, again, don't get caught up too much in the big name writers or the big name actors or whatever, because those are the ones that are not getting screwed.
I'm talking about all the young ones that have no life experience and don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah,
well, and
there's a lot.
And that hurts their writing,
I
too.
am a huge proponent of unions, so that's a weird thing about me because I'm kind of right of center, but I am a huge proponent of unions because that's where people can come together and help each other. The problem with a union like theirs is the difference in pay.
It's
most
not
unions,
acting in the best interests of its constituents.
Right. Most unions, like if you're a driver, these are the levels you may automatically get, and you'll all top out at this amount.
We'll have to debate that, because Scott, you and I are going to disagree about this one so radically much that I would love to break that down with you in a free trade conversation about that, because I think that's exactly the problem. There's no way to blend, Taylor Sheridan with the no-name guy trying to sell his script. That's too.
And I'm with you on that.
It's not. I don't even know how a union
this isn't a union.
Yeah.
No,
this is a company with medical. That's all it is.
No, but culture is saying an important thing, though, is that the writers union and the actors union is very different. I mean, I grew up blue collar family.
Well, I mean, every
my
union
parents worked their finger to the bone to send us to private school all through grade school and high school. We did not have money. And we went to Disney once, the first time when I was 15, and that was it. One trip our whole lives. Everything else was just going to Wisconsin and back to Illinois. So, I mean, my dad would just fight tooth and nail for a 15 freaking cents an hour raise every year. Like, I can get a 15-cent raise without even trying.
Right. See, I was
working at Kmart.
The big negative of the unions in the first place is I can no longer enter into a contract with my employer.
Right.
My union will negotiate that for me.
Right.
Like, no.
But you decided to join the. See, this is the problem.
Yes,
I have
but
with,
so many unions, you don't decide to join them. You either
Right.
join them or you don't pay
Find a
dues
different job.
and get forced
Well,
out.
but there's some fields you can't even work in if you don't join a union.
I get that
Exactly.
completely. I get that completely. I really do.
Except even with these strikes, they've made exceptions. I did a video that there's like up to like 30 of these films that are going forward with actually big name actors like McConaughey and stuff. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, so what you're basically telling me is the American population just needs to don't give a rat's behind, because there's still going to be good films coming, and we can just watch older stuff. And by the way, Fathom Events just dropped an extra month, so now their Halloween horror Fright Fest stuff is going to be September and October. I'm like, yeah, you guys don't have the leverage you think you do.
And don't
I mean,
forget,
let me tell you, in a couple weeks, Kroll is playing at the Alamo Drafthouse near me, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see Kroll in
Kroll's
the
a
movie
pretty fun
theater.
movie.
That's awesome.
Kroll's
I
a
was
fun
like,
movie.
the week before, The Warriors is playing, and I'm like, hey, I've got some
Warriors is a good movie.
That's
it's
dope,
like-
dude.
Then
I'm
the week
seeing
after that, they
Reveal
got
on Friday.
Roadhouse. It's like September is looking pretty solid.
And don't forget the these actors can easily skate around this by taking contracts through the UK union. So just because they're not involved, because they can be both card holders of the UK union and the Screen Actors Guild union in America. So who's to say they can't easily just go work for like the people who are in House of the Dragon right now that are filming, and it's okay because they have a contract through the UK and not through America. There's so many ways around it, but it's the small people. See, the problem with a union like this, it's so just the difference.
It's disparaging.
Yeah,
And
that's the word I was looking for.
So, and I think where we are going to agree, because I think if I read your analysis right, your fault with these two unions in particular is there's no ceiling. So the disparaging gap is basically been like completely free for all. An actor that can make $100 million is in the same union with actors that are making base. And we don't, that's not a union at all. It's just a union in name, not in its sort of functionality. We can't compare that type of union to like the miners and, tradesmen and things like that, which is what we normally think of. We think of a union.
Yes. electrical union.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tons and tons.
That's why I can't consider this a union where there is no way for a writer to, it's kind of weird to say, but like, automatically get pay grades if they're doing the job. This is more of a performance-based place, which is kind of stupid, but that's not like a union.
What the writers are looking for.
The writers are even okay. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
The writers are looking for like the writers' room with a guaranteed number of slots. It's a classic. It's basically like putting no-show jobs on the books. I mean, that's a famous union thing. If you ever did like construction union work, the no-show job where in order to get the concrete poured, you'd have to pay for 6 guys on the job when only 3 are going to show up and actually do it. But 6 union guys have to be paid for that job.
Yeah.
And I was just going to add that I think that, and I don't know if any of you have used ChatGPT or not yet. ChatGPT is Google before it was paid to sponsored play. It's actually like fact driven is what ChatGPT is good. It is so easy to say, give me 10 lists or rewrite this paragraph, and then use your human nature to humanize it, which is not what Star Wars did with Mandalorian. We saw actually ChatGPT on display where they don't human like that. I don't see there's a way for them to say, oh, you'll never be able to use it, because if you actually have a decent writer, you're just taking outline and just flushing it out. You can use ChatGPT as the tool. It's like a dictation type tool or a word search tool.
Big time.
And they've dug themselves in this hole with this industry now where you have everything from tentpole $300 million budgets and then streaming services and everything in between. And you're going to resolve this with the disparaging salaries, which is what Scott, you were pointing out earlier. I'm like, I'm actually happy because it means the system can recalibrate, which is what needs to happen.
And it seems like, so Stephen, before I make my point, like chat, you can write a part of your book, your sci-fi, and then say, punch it into Chat GPT or one of the others. I saw a video on it where the guy was like, then he threw all this, it was fantasy, threw all these George R.R. Martin books into it and said, now write this in his tone, I guess. And what happened is that it started to express
actually finish Winds of Winter.
Oh God, please! I'll take it. I'll take it right about now. But it literally like changed the writing of his to add like certain things George does. Like he's very big into eye color, what people are wearing, how they look, because it factors into the A Song of Ice and Fire. And it added things to it that just made it.
So
seem
he
a
loaded all
fuller
this stuff into
paragraph.
Chat GPT and said, "All right, you do rewrite this like your George R.R. Martin."
Yep.
And
just
then it
gave
punched
a fuller.
out 3 paragraphs as a sample and said, "I'll have the
Right.
rest for you soon."
And then it had like a ham sandwich at the bottom.
That's really funny. But I did download both of those PDFs, and I will eventually read them.
Yeah, there you go. Send them to me. Another thing, I was going. Oh shit! Now I forgot what we were talking about right before that AI thing. With the have you noticed that like Hollywood in general seems to be LA even a lot of different things are going on strike. Like some of the civil workers are going on strike. It seems like they're trying to shut down LA. I don't know if this was something that was targeted or they all just saw this as our moment, but like LA, we're going to find out in a couple, maybe a month, that LA might be shut down because of civil workers, people that, the city workers might be on strike too. So they're going to be screwed.
Think about what happened in New York.
That's viral for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Think about what happened in New York when the garbage men went on strike. Was that in the 80s or 90s?
Oh yeah,
mid 80s, right? And it just piled up.
Mm-hmm. It was insane.
And now it's just like that again. So all we know is she goes. We'll play this real quick, but she pretty much just goes back and says she hated the ride. She didn't like Snow White. I mean, the girl. You got to remember at least what you freaking said in an interview. They've grown up in the history of the internet where anything you say comes back and gets you. So like you have to be prepared for this. You have to at least hire someone that says, "Hey, by the way, you said you really like this ride." Stupid. But there's she has her people that want to support her. So I found this article where she this Iris Gold, wow, that's a name. I don't know how to say that. Gold SZTA.
There's a sh in there, but I can't pronounce it all. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Gold station.
Right?
Thank you. That sounds really right. Thank you.
I just love her first 2 paragraphs. She, Rachel finds herself at the center of internet controversy for, comments back in 2022. But then she says, "You may have heard whispers about the backlash. But if you're unsure what exactly is happening, let me break it down for you." Like whispers, this is not just a little thing. Like this is on all.
Why are we doing
sites.
1-sentence paragraphs too?
That annoys me.
Scotty, there's no way there's just whispers going on about this. I really have. I've been working a lot. I haven't been able to pay attention to anything in entertainments, but the one thing I've consistently heard about is Snow White and her comments.
Right.
Yeah, I can sum this up with a trademarked adage that I just came up with, and it's mine, and no one else can say it, and you owe me a quarter every time you say it. But it's easy to forget what you said when you're talking out your ass.
Right.
Point taken.
Well said.
I mean, Ace Ventura always remembered.
Ace Ventura. So we got 25 people watching, probably on the YouTube, and we got like another 6 or 7 watching on Rumble. Thank you guys
Winds
very
of Winter.
much.
Yeah, that is a funny line.
That's a great one. That's great.
Hi, Rumble people. We love you.
Yes, we love the Rumble people. I am now a single income family, so I'll be working a lot. So I have memberships and super chats and things like that I love. So please feel free, because it's going to be a rough year. But anyways, this girl, she fell into it. She fell into that hole of, I can say these things because, like Pop said, she's in that bubble within a bubble, a dome within a dome, biodome, where she can say whatever she wants, and then she's shocked that people are reacting to it.
If you already have the mindset where you're a special pretty princess, and then you're like chosen from 20,000 auditions by Steven Spielberg to be in West Side Story, and before you've even finished that one, they put you in Shazam 2 to play a goddess because they think you're the next great thing, and then Disney's signing you to be a princess. I mean, this girl has an artificially inflated ego and then she's in the Hunger Games. Like, Hollywood is trying hard to make Rachel Ziegler happen, and I
They
don't
do these with
understand.
certain people, man,
Yeah.
and I never understand why.
Because they're
Spielberg.
conditioned properly. Like, so I come from the tri-state area, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware, and the attitude here is very, very far left. You can walk into a store and just hear a comment about anything ranging from Trump to anything Republican, anything conservative. It's always slanted. The conditioning that it happens up here in the school system socially is perfect for Hollywood. She is the perfect transplant to put in Hollywood to adopt their ideologies and to promote them.
But don't forget, also, it's the cities, like the tri-state area of Connecticut and New York and New Jersey, New England.
Well, Philadelphia dominates southern Jersey.
Well,
absolutely, that's the area I'm from.
Bad take, Bojam. Back me up on this. I thought the tri-state area was Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa.
There's many tri-states.
I mean, the tri-state area is Virginia, Maryland, DC, West Virginia. We get four and a quarter.
Heard it referred to as that.
Dude, the first time I ever heard
the DMV
other
is what
than,
we usually get.
Other than Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, I was like, wait a minute, why are they calling this the tri-state? I'm very confused right now. It was like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. I'm like, that is
what?
Tri-state? What are they talking about?
There's a spot down in the southern like panhandle of Virginia where it's like Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky are right like there. I'm sure they call that the tri-state area.
Yeah.
That's a good tri-state though.
Yeah. You're going to get a lot of NASCAR fans.
And Small Time says, yes, she is a vessel for the message.
But you know, I mean, she's also young, impressionable. She's you know, probably she has a lot of pressure on her, and you know that social and indoctrination that she's already been through.
Yeah,
they're pressing it. They're going to use her like they did with Jennifer Lawrence. They're going to use her as a cudgel.
And don't forget, she's a young.
I mean, the only thing separating her from Jennifer Lawrence is like an iCloud leak, and then she'd be young Jennifer Lawrence. I wouldn't be surprised if it already
double pun, Scott.
Chad will know. Has she managed to avoid the iCloud issues, or is she still like J-Law wannabe?
Oh, dude, come on. She's like the girl from the High School Musical. What's her name? That also had the leak. Vanessa Hudgens.
Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens was like the beta test of Rachel Ziegler.
I really believe the same thing. Look at her now, and that'll be this girl 30 years or 20 years, 10, 15 years from now.
Has it been 15 years since high school? Oh my God.
At least 10.
You're old.
At least 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of the Quad State. I've heard of the Quad Cities.
Is the Quad State like Colorado, Utah, what is it, Arizona and New Mexico? Would that be the Quad State? Can't you lay in all four of them at once?
Yeah, there is. I've been doing the, there's a little, like, it's like it looks like a large sewer cover, manhole cover.
I just want to go back to the
has
fact that
X on it.
that Tina said they used to just go to Wisconsin for vacation like that. Like, welcome to Wisconsin. This is where you go for
Wisconsin
vacation.
Dells is awesome.
Like
Wisconsin's beautiful, absolutely. But I mean, that was vacation for us, and it was always in a car.
What are you gonna do? We're gonna drive to Wisconsin, milk some cows.
No, seriously,
no.
Wisconsin Dells, they've got like go-kart tracks that are miles and miles long. It's just
really,
it is an entire county that is nothing but a theme park spread across like probably
amazing.
30,
it's
40
amazing.
miles.
Yeah, they have multiple state parks in the area, and what us Illinoisans do is we cross the border and mess up all the state parks in Wisconsin because we've already trashed the ones in Illinois.
Good for you, Tina.
And then there's like we would go there, and there was it was called the Kalahari, and it was like a hotel, but it had like an indoor water park. It's awesome.
There's four of them now right next to each other. It's Kalahari, it's Wilderness Lodge, Great Wolf Lodge. And
Great Wolf Lodge. They have one down in Williamsburg.
Yeah, they have one.
Yeah, we were at the Williamsburg one. The one in Wisconsin is actually better than the Williamsburg one.
I wouldn't doubt it.
You're the state sport of Wisconsin.
You're selling me on Wisconsin. I was like,
it's beautiful country.
I mean, all I knew about Wisconsin was that Kyle Rittenhouse, took care of business there.
Damn straight.
You varsity letter in cow tipping in Wisconsin? I think it's possible.
I think you could.
So we now have 12 people watching on Rumble, and so I want to let everybody know on YouTube and Rumble, Yelling at Parked Cars, the Dick's Division crew, has moved from Monday night to Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Rumble. So the link is in my chat. Please make sure you guys go over there after this and let them know I sent you, so they let me back on.
Exactly. And those guys on Rumble are the best.
It's so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing, even though we've lost some since they demonetized me on YouTube, to start only an hour on Saturday nights on YouTube, and then the last hour on both, but then the last hour only on Rumble, because Rumble allows you to be yourself and have fun. So,
I am hearing a lot of good things about Rumble, Scott.
Rumble rocks.
A lot of people. I mean, when I come back to my channel, I might just stream there instead of worrying about YouTube.
If they could just get a friggin' API for StreamYards, it would be the greatest thing.
Yeah, it sucks that you have to keep putting it in
awesome.
and out, but whatever. It takes 2 minutes.
But sorry about that. Check with ETAP and Vinny. They've been doing all of their streams. There are multiple streams a week where they started, and sometimes with Vinny, we only get like 20 minutes on a Friday, and then we already got to jump over to Rumble because we're getting
it's
posse,
not worth.
so.
YouTube is the past, and it will be seeing that in the next few years. Rumble is here to stay. It is not one of these that they can shut down easily. I think there's a lot of people moving over to Rumble, so I may, YouTube hasn't been helping me out a lot, so I'm thinking about doing the Saturday show only on Rumble, so we can actually talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. Sorry about that. I'm getting used to this new mic over here. So yeah, let's hear it for Rumble. I can do that now.
Yay!
What up, Mr. Grant Gregory? How are you? Odyssey's a little. I have Odyssey, but it never grows. But Rumble is the shit. Thank you, Thunder Duck. So we had another topic I want to make sure we hit because we got a little under like 50 minutes left. So I definitely want to touch on this, and I think I just bookmarked a lot of this. So give me 1 second. You guys keep talking about how's your channel doing, Steven? It seems like you're growing really fast.
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
Dragon Storm's at almost 4,500 now. So, guys, if you're making content, be consistent and believe in yourself, and you'll keep growing.
I will never be consistent.
No, we are consistently. We're at like 170 something, whatever. We can't even keep on the topics we select for our shows.
But that's 170 people who love you, Chad. They're dedicated.
There's 178 subscribed, but only Tina and Brahma show up every week. So they're the people who actually like the show.
We will always treat this like a hobby, because the second we treat it like a job, it'll go to shit.
Right. I hear you.
That's true. Like both Slender and I have like sporting. We have full-time jobs supporting our families, and YouTube is a fun thing to stress relief, hang out with fun people, do the good stuff.
Yeah, yes, sir. And when did StreamYards fix this? You can actually show member chats. Mr. Grant Gregory, member for 17 months, and I appreciate it, brother. Congrats on Bad Take's new channel, almost catching up to Scott's. Yeah, you are. In subs, Sport Check DMs. Also, thank you, brother. I love your first video. Great way of doing it. I thought it was awesome.
It was incredible, Scotty.
Yeah,
Can you imagine when we first started if we hadn't produced anything that good?
I still don't produce anything that good. But I'm pretty impressed with the I wish I didn't say 55 million for Blue Beetle, but whatever. It's gonna.
No, you said more than 55 million.
Okay, that's $1. That's all it has to.
So
do.
yeah, okay, it has to do 55 million and one.
Yeah, that'll
be fine.
Machini becomes a sponsor. I think that means a channel member. So thank you. It's not showing up on
Mac.
It's not showing up on YouTube, but thank you so much, my brother.
Did they do it through StreamYard? Do you have the thing set up where people can?
Yeah.
Where the people can subscribe or support through that?
I might have done that. I might have. What up, Bride? How are you? Shit, I don't know if I did that. I'll have to check on that. But Machini is awesome. Machini's killing it. His stuff is growing because he is consistent.
Yep.
And he's a great artist. And I can't wait for him to come out with his own anime. And I'd like to talk to him about a little Sporky anime. But yeah, so I want to show you guys this stuff. it bothers the shit out of me that if someone, and this goes more than just Hollywood, but it's definitely prevalent in Hollywood. Like, you can talk about your Muslim, religion. You could talk about, Buddhism, Hinduism. You could talk about being Jewish. But when it comes to saying something about Christianity, you could be a Scientologist. Believe in Zoda or Zod or whatever his name is.
Can't say the J word.
Yeah,
Xenu is who you're looking for.
Can't talk about Jesus on the
can't
tubes.
Talk about Jesus, man.
Jesus is off. You can't talk about the carpenter, man. He's off limits.
It's sad. It is sad.
We've dealt with this for over 10 years, brother. Because my whole channel before, we've interviewed. I used to interview on the radio and stuff. We'd do stuff, and it would just, the green would go away like instantly. You just talk about Jesus, or you would. We did I did a segment on like a golf tournament that a church was doing, demonetized. I mean, it was like 2008 or 9 or something like that. It was crazy. That was back then.
Pops, you don't want to be a conspiratorial person, but it kind of seems like there is. No,
it's built into the algorithm. The algorithm says advertisers don't want any part of the J word. That's pretty much how it goes.
That's insane.
DJ, what is up? Sorry, DJ, what were you going to say, Steven?
No, I was just saying the pendulum. We want to create a balance. We want to create a balance between people, right? Between our representations. First off, the free country, you should be allowed to pray or not pray or do whatever you want. And when, like the counterbalance to overwhelmingly, Christian conservatives who had a lot of control in the 70s, 80s, and, to where we are now, there should be no discrimination against anyone because of how they pray. I think haven't we gotten beyond that yet?
We've talked about this before. I mean, I'm Christian, and I respect you believe in what you believe in, Stephen. Like I respect it because I've been through enough in my life to realize I am not the type that tries to minister to people. I understand there are portions of Christianity because it's in the scripture to pass on His word. I understand that, but I also believe when someone is ready, they will come to you. And if they never are and they believe in what they believe in, I truly believe Jesus hung out with many different types of people. And if he decide, like if you're a good human being at heart, it's not doctrine, I understand, but I believe you'll find your way to a good afterlife. But for me, I'm Christian and I believe, that salvation is there. And so does Mark Wahlberg, and because he's been more vocal about his more conservative side lately, he is being just destroyed on X or whatever we call this now, Twitter X.
Why?
Because people now, because he's preaching, peace and love, they keep bringing up when he was 15 and used the N-word and got arrested for throwing. I mean, it wasn't a good thing he did, but he was 15 and 16 years old.
Right, because we all don't make mistakes when we're teenagers.
Yeah, he was a young.
It just shows they don't understand Christianity, right? So
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll be more than happy because I had actually had this happen when I returned to Twitter for the third and final time. I'm not going to restart this mess again. I've deleted and started twice, and this person did a screenshot, and it was a joke I'd made about Biden falling up the stairs. If you guys remember that fiasco, right? It was just it was kind of funny to me. I thought it was funny falling upstairs, and it was like, obviously you're not a very good Christian because you mocked the whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought it was a joke. And by the way, I don't know that, I thought that was the whole point was forgiveness and grace, but there is no forgiveness and grace on the lefty social cult that we have going on now. So anything that Mark Wahlberg has ever done or said or whatever will be used against you in the court of the woke.
But let's forget what other people have done because, they fall into the idea of hedonism and all this type of shit.
Well, it's devaluing a person's position at any cost. All right. Yeah. You've got to vilify that person. Doesn't matter who they are now. Doesn't matter what sense they're making or what they're bringing, what logic they're bringing to the table, what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're actually saying or doing. What matters is smearing that person so that they look a certain way. So you don't believe or put any stock or value in what they're saying or doing.
Yep.
And this is. I was gonna say, go ahead, Steve. I'll finish your thought.
No, yeah, Pops. I'm just saying that it's a smear campaign. What the left does, and to be fair, like the right has in the past done it too, but the far left, this is what they do. They devalue the target of their attacks, so that like, okay, Mark comes out and says what he's saying about his belief system, peace, love, whatever. Well, the far left is going to have to come at him and say, no, he doesn't mean that because he's done this in the past, or this has happened,
and that's
or
what
he hung out with so and so. It's all a smear campaign to devalue the target so that they don't believe, so that you vilify them. You can't believe in what they're saying or doing.
Right.
And trying to target a message of peace or love, no matter where it comes from, it just shows how evil the aggressors are in that situation.
Well, it's a 20-second clip what people are getting pissed about. So let me show you guys this first. Here we go.
Amen. God bless you on this beautiful Sunday. What an amazing service out here in New York in the Hamptons. My Muslim brother, I love you. I love you. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Peace to all people. Love you.
Wow, what a positive, wonderful, spiritual message.
How evil J word in that. He's not a real Christian. He didn't say the J word.
Yeah. So
I was going to point that out because it's like, as someone who's been very devout, went to got my credentials, the whole nine, right? And I don't, you've been on my channel. I'm not out there slinging a board and smacking people with my Bible, but I am that devout. But here's the thing: they have gone out of their way in my time when I've covered these types of movies for like 15 years. There's a ton of faith-based films that are okay, right? They're not great because they don't have any money. And you know what? They get attacked because it's unbelievable when you tell true life stories about people's true Christianity and their faith, redemption stories, that's just unbelievable. You'll see reviews not criticizing the film, but the unbelievability of the faith. They're not real Christians. I mean, Jim Caviezel gets attacked all the time. They finally have decided that he's Christian enough to be left alone. Let's attack some other different angle, right? Yep. But this is nothing new. Chris Pratt is treated like a second-class citizen in their eyes, and audiences keep turning out for. He's basically one of like 2 or 3 real Hollywood celebrities that are left. But what Wahlberg and others have to know is you'll never be Christian enough to these people. No. When they attack you, you either can ignore them or just tell them to go pound sand.
Right.
That's it. I mean, just don't get in it because you'll never be Christian enough. They'll find something else wrong.
Right. And because your past will always be used against you.
Absolutely. Go ask my ex-wife. She'd be more than happy to tell you all the dirty crap that I said and did wrong and whatever. Yes. Right. I mean, that's life. That's what I was like. I was an awful person. I actually talk about what an awful person I was. An awful teenager I had become, drinking and doing different things in my 20s. Yes. Yep. Yes. And thank Jesus I'm not that way anymore. Same here. What do you want me to say? I don't know what to tell you.
I'm with you. Amen, brother.
I don't know what to tell you.
32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, who will be on at 9 p.m. most likely with the Dick's Division crew on Rumble. We shared the link. I'll share it again before we go because we'll probably end 5-10 minutes before they start. But
Nick, the defender of Chicago pizza. Sorry.
He was on my Comic Talk. Comic Talk dropped today. He was my Comic Talk guest this morning.
He's a great dude. Nick is one of my favorite people. Got to meet him down in Florida. And I'm so grateful I got to. He's talking about Chosen premiered today on Netflix, which it really didn't get any, even Netflix, I don't think showed it as an upcoming thing where you can like get notifications. I've watched all up to like the 2nd or 3rd episode of season 3, which it's a great show. Like that guy who plays Jesus plays the type of Jesus I think of in my mind, like the type that is just, he's the son of God, but he's also playful and wants to be just a normal one of the guys until his missionary starts. And I think it's a fantastic show for people that don't really know Bible. Now I know not everyone Christian thinks that it's perfect, but I think it's good enough to introduce people to what Jesus
you couldn't do perfect,
was.
or it would be rated X. Would be Jesus. No, it would be rated X. If you read the Old Testaments and the violence, it would not even be appropriate for. If you think about like a Tarantino or a 300. Oh no, it is way more graphic than that in the Old Testament. If we tried, I mean, it's just. But that is, what. That is humanity. Yes. We are that gross. We are that evil. We are that bad. So, and I agree with what you said, Nick. I said it is sketchy that Netflix didn't even promote it. Yeah, I didn't
Okay,
see it pop
just-
up. I didn't notice.
Just to clarify, The Chosen One is a different show than The Chosen.
Right.
I think
shit. I'm
because
sorry.
The Chosen One is like a Brazilian show that Netflix has. So
Oh, I didn't. Okay, my bad. I
think this one is called The Chosen.
I didn't even. The Chosen is what I've watched.
That's what I was familiar with too. The Chosen One, I'm not familiar with at all.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think he means.
I misunderstood.
Someone check Netflix real quick. Here, I could. Do that.
I can do it right now. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah,
You
just
keep
see if
doing
The
your thing.
Chosen is on there. But
I see The Chosen One is on here, but I don't see The Chosen.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't even know what that one's. Okay.
The Chosen is free everywhere. You can get The Chosen anywhere.
Yeah, that was Angel Studios' first big success actually. Before
it made like $10 million in one of their premiere episodes in a Fathom event screening in theaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Chosen is hardcore good. So
I mean, if it wasn't for how crazy successful Sound of Freedom's been, like The Chosen would have been, and it rightfully so, because it's that's why The Chosen also got a waiver from the Screen Actors Guild, because it's a completely independent production.
Yep.
Correct.
So they were allowed to continue and finish their show since it's not in the studio system at
and it's
all.
done so well.
And so has their next couple of projects, by the way. Those were among those lists of movies I was talking to you about earlier. So.
Yeah,
And that's what Angel Studios is doing so well. I think me and Slender have talked about it before on our show, which is that one of the failings of Christian entertainment is that its production value is so bad.
Yeah,
correct.
Usually
it's generally like B movie straight to video from the 90s bad. Like my best example is the Kirk Cameron Left Behind movies that were, they're fine if you want to sell VHS tapes at a church bake sale or something, but if you want to truly
build this up to get to where we are now,
and
Kirk
you look
Cameron's taken a lot of.
No, I mean he got hits going back to Growing Pains when he made them fire the girl who was playing his girlfriend.
Oh, because she was in Playboy.
Because she was in Playboy, and and they hired her knowing that, and he knew that then. But when he became born again, he was like, she's got to go, and they, at least from being his girlfriend, she came back a couple times after that.
Yeah, I just,
but
I don't.
But I would say that there have been films. I'm sorry, and I pointed this out because I did like a little thing around Easter time, like 4 movies I'd recommend, and most of my conversation is what their shortcomings are, and it's about finances, but not even finances about in front of camera or the director. It's usually the other stuff, right? They don't have good lighting, some of the editing sketchy. It's just like it's just the production level is significantly less. But they have, and I give you examples. They have gone out of their way to make sure that you don't talk about certain movies. There have been some of these faith-based movies that have landed at like the top 10, and then you'll have like these press releases about the box office, and they will not mention that film.
Right.
That
I know that. What was the one with Kelsey Grammer that just came out? Like
the Jesus Revolution did well.
Yeah, it did well. It did actually pretty well early, and this was back when COVID was still the blame for everything not making money. That was adult skewing, and this was exactly the type of adult skewing movie that they wanted, and it was perfectly performing for that kind of like demo. And it actually overperformed for that demo. And you're right. They did not talk about, like, it came and went, even though it made, I think,
and actually,
60, 70
if you look
million.
up that director, the Irwin brothers, because I've talked to both of them, they actually do some pretty high quality stuff for what they have to work with. They've actually put together. Woodlawn is probably one of my best and favorite faith-based films. It's a football movie based on Tony Nathan's life.
Oh, really?
And it just needs a couple of pieces. And they had John Voight as Bear Bryant. And I wish they had a script doctor come in and give him like an Oscar speech, because that's what that film needed to like pump it up.
Yeah.
But it got buried. It got buried because Glenn Beck did a bunch of promotion for it at the last minute. And because Glenn Beck's name was on it, they buried it.
Absolutely.
They all attacked it.
Yep. I mean, I think
I just want to hit this with the Marky Mark thing.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
I kind of liked what this person put. Like, they attack. I don't even know. I guess he might be a Republican. I don't know. He's from Massachusetts, so how could he be? But
he left though.
Oh, that's true. To Hollywood.
Massachusetts is very blue collar. It's like the weirdest thing.
I
like
right
Massachusetts, most of the state, and it votes overwhelmingly Democrat. But like, if you actually talk to them, like these people are exactly who you would think would be a typical MAGA Trump voter.
But
because
it's again like
outside,
Connecticut.
like no,
I'm
but
sorry
if you
to
go
keep
to like
interrupting, but-
if you go to like Lowell, Franklin, like all the
Yeah.
places
Yeah.
outside Worcester,
Yep.
they're just working class blue collar types, and I mean they're voting because they're. I don't want to say this the wrong way because we talked about it earlier, but sometimes they still vote because the union gives them a card and says this is who the union approves
Right.
as the candidates running for election.
Right. That's
but yeah, and
probably.
I think he lives in Texas now, right? Mark Wahlberg, or is it Arizona? I know he left. He definitely made a big deal of leaving Hollywood. Like he didn't want to raise his kids in Hollywood. That was like a thing he talked about.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he points out a perfect thing. Just like the disclosure stuff at Congress, or some of the big, attacks on Trump, and I'm not saying, you have to like Trump or anything, but look at, like, they're telling you to look over here, but what are they doing over here? What are they passing? What things are getting by? Who something happens with a certain crackhead son, and then the next thing you know, there's a big story about Trump. Like to cover up these things, because it's legacy media is in the hand. It's a state-run media now. That's the way I see it. It's state-run for a certain party, and that's sad. We should have actual journalists who, like, also in sports and in Hollywood and all these, and government, where they don't want to be part of the party. They want to report on it. There's a big difference.
Not gonna happen.
There's such a big difference. You're
not
right,
gonna
man.
happen. They're like
You're right.
85 to 90% D's, dating all the way back to Bernie Goldberg's book Bias, which changed my life when I started to understand how they write differently and whatever. Not going to happen. But I wish I could believe it, brother. Wish I could.
I know. I wish.
Did you want me to let you know about The Chosen One?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, The Chosen One, and Nick confirmed this one he's watching. The premise is The Chosen One follows 3 young doctors who travel to a village in Pantanal to vaccinate residents against the new mutation of a Zika virus. They end up trapped in this community full of secrets, and whose residents are devoted to a mysterious leader who has the gift of healing illness in a supernatural way. And it was also described as a 12-year-old boy discovers Jesus-like powers.
Okay.
But I don't know if that second one is a more accurate, because that was just a Google answer as opposed to Wikipedia, which is just a slightly better than a Google answer. But
yeah, so thank you very much for that.
No problem.
You have people, back in June. This has been going on for a while. I've seen more articles that are newer than 2020, but they have been listing his so-called hate crimes when he was, first of all, a juvenile. I don't know how that affected him. I know the Vietnamese one might be a little later on, but I know the ones where he was fighting black kids, and because he was from a certain area. Look, when you live in a city and you're poor, it doesn't matter what color you are, you kind of group together with people in your neighborhood and fight other people.
Yep.
And a lot of the times when you're screaming those words, it's because the kids in your neighborhood allow you to use those words. Like with the A, maybe not the ER, but with the A, like I know enough people that, grew up in cities that with their friends, it's just common, even though they're white and they're black, but outside of it, they wouldn't think of it. Brownsville, PA,
just don't ever drop the hard R. And
that's what he was doing, I guess, at 15, which I get people being upset by it, but he has grown spiritually, and he is, people are saying, oh, he only did that, wants forgiveness because he wants to expunge the record because, it's holding back his franchise from growing. The Wahlberg, the dude's rich enough. Okay.
I mean, I would hesitate to say that he's he's doing this because he wants to find more success as a Hollywood actor. Like,
right.
Coming out as an overt Christian is never the recipe for getting more job offers in Hollywood.
Yep.
I mean,
isn't it sad that everything is? Thank you, DJ Ronnie G. Good to see you, my brother. Isn't it sad that you have so many people who now have a platform like Twitter, whatever, for them to voice how hateful and mean and how they don't want anyone to improve in their life? Like we shouldn't just, even if you just don't care, or let's say you do care a little bit. Oh, Mark Wahlberg, what a fake! What fine, but you have to go so much further than that to dust off every flaw the person has had in their past without any mercy and grace and forgiveness. That you don't think that there's any goodwill in any of this. Everything is so pessimistic and nihilistic. It's so gross. I'm so happy that I'm just doing my own YouTube thing in my own little bubble. I freaking don't care about these people. They can go pound sand.
Right.
I just, God, I hate it so much. So gross.
I've been talking to like Tina and other people recently. Like, we had like a path that we were following when we first started YouTube, like that Gary laid down, and, world-class bullshitters and geeks and gamers. And like, I'm done talking about the things I hate about our, I'll still defend the franchises I love, but I'd rather talk about things that pique my interest. So
I was about to say, Sporking, Marvels is coming out. You could ride that Brie Larson wave.
No, I probably will, because that's.
But you can do both. You can do both.
I plan on it.
You
Don't get me wrong.
I have whole days committed to that, right? Cartoons. Right. We have like throwback days. It's like it's okay to do a balance.
Thank you, because that's what I am doing. I'll be talking anime more. Going back to A Song of Ice and Fire. With things that have happened in the personal life, I got to figure out what nights. But
have you been watching the vending machine show now?
I freaking love that one.
Isn't it hilariously good?
Thank you very much.
I do not understand how you guys can watch that one.
Because it's so good. All right. Because I know you hate things that are subbed and not dubbed, so it bothers you. But it's hilarious. Is it? They have a dub.
What they'll do a lot of time on Crunchyroll is after like the 5th or 6th subbed one, they'll start dubbing episode 1, and then you start getting weekly.
Oh, I know about that. Yeah, I just didn't even know if it was on the list of getting a dub.
There's another one where the kid's a healer. He's like
the cleric.
I love anything that is like
isekai.
Thank you, isekai. I love isekai. It's just
So my word of advice to you, Scott, and any of you at home that want to do something like that, do something that's sort of like, I'm going to call it off-brand. Like it's not totally the main focus of what the whole channel is, but you want to do something like that. You know what? Do a batch shoot. Prepare for a day or two, and then you're going to say, for this 3-hour block, you're going to devote this much time per video. Like you're going to do this many 10-minute videos. Maybe you have one person that comes in and they do like 3 or 4 with you and things like that, and then you just drop them on a set schedule. Just plug them into their days, and you just rock and roll with some positivity out there as well, my brother. And you know what? You're going to feel so motivated on the other side of that. You and I've talked about this, like why I'm still doing my weekly reaction watch to freaking Batman, because it's so great. That cartoon is better than just about everything ever made. It's
what I started rewatching with my son is the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s too.
The 90s one's good.
That thing actually is really solid. I forgot how good it was because you're watching it when you're a kid. No, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
The animated
Batman
series.
is the lead. Yeah. Batman with the music and the editing and the details. You're like, it's nuts. But
well, I mean, I even think the DC animated run from Batman. I love the Superman animated series, leading right into Justice League. If they just hadn't replaced Tim Daly as the voice of Superman, it would have been perfect. I have no idea why they decided they needed to do that. For maybe he was doing a show and couldn't do voiceover work, but it was weird to keep the exact same design and aesthetic and then just replace just one voice, because they kept Conroy for Batman and they replaced Tim Daly as Batman. I always thought Tim Daly was a great Batman voice. I mean, a Superman voice actor. So
who was the other guy?
I think it was a contract. I'm not going to speak out of turn. Someone in chat's probably already Googled it up, but I think Daly had a contract gap and had some other project or something, because he did come back. He did other direct video work.
Yeah, I think he did Public Enemies. He was the voice in that
Doom. I know he was in Doom and Apocalypse. I'm not putting the whole name together, whatever they called. What is it? Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, and I think Justice League is Doom. Anyway, so he's been in some of those, but I think it was a contractual thing or whatever. But my point is find something that you like if you're into anime. Maybe your whole channel is not anime, but maybe you can do anime Tuesdays.
Yeah, I know.
Thursdays. You
we
know
should
what I mean?
do that, Sporking, because Mushoku Tensei is back,
We'll
and
get-
that show is amazing.
Yes,
there you go.
dude.
You just
So good. We'll
break
get
it down, have
Biggles
some fun.
involved too. Biggles
I've been
loves
trying to
anime.
get Slender to watch that one for 3 years, it seems like, and he's still
that one's so good.
And it's got a dub, and he's just
You talking
sleeping on
Jobless Reincarnation again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I really do.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's like the best isekai. I might even be putting it above ReZero at this point. Which
Well,
is,
I would put a lot of things above ReZero, but you know
Fuck
my
you.
opinions on that.
Hey Spencer, yeah, well, if you want to, we might start doing an anime thing. So I'll keep you in the loop too, because I know you're.
I'll tell you what, man. Anime. Every time we do like a short or something on that, that thing is like algorithm gold on YouTube.
Yeah.
Anime stuff gets views.
I'll have to remember that because I do love my anime, and I can't wait for new Black Clover. New.
Well,
my.
I'll watch
Academia-
Loki for
My Hero.
everybody.
Okay, thanks. That's great.
Loki. That
Well,
is
I mean-
going to be. Yeah, I guess.
I'll be
You can
watching
tell me
Loki.
if they
Tina,
if they
I'll
I don't
watch
think we
Jonathan
agree on
Majors.
Loki, Tina. I don't think we agree about it, but I'll be watching.
I'll
Well,
watch. you, Tina, just
Well,
to
what
help you
was
out.
really funny with the first time that Loki, the first season came out, I would like watch it at like 3 or 4 in the morning when my husband would be getting up to work because he used to have to support a team overseas, and then I would watch again at lunch
Mhm.
because I'm like, oh, this was really really good, and then I would watch all the streams after dinner and everybody was shitting all over it, and then I'd watch it a third time at night going, I don't know why nobody likes this show, I love it.
Tina was this close to doing one of those "Leave Britney Alone" videos for Loki. Just
Don't
putting a
forget,
blanket
guys.
over her head.
I've
Leave
been asked to
Loki
do a
alone.
rewatch and reaction, so it's gonna be bad. I hated
Make-
Loki so much.
Oh, it was
Oh,
terrible.
and that's totally okay. That's where I got
It's
the
okay.
name from. Mr. Grant Gregory
I know, bad take.
kept talking
I
about
got
Bad Take Bojan. So
But don't forget,
It's-
everybody, she has a YouTube channel.
It was a
She
great
has
first video
a
too.
YouTube channel. So
oh,
make
thank
sure you
I
guys
really
check it out.
appreciate that.
Make sure you guys check it out. Great first video. Is the first video out now?
Yep, yep. I didn't share it. I didn't even share it on Twitter, which is funny because everybody else was sharing it, which was so sweet. But yeah, it's the video. It's out. It's public. And I went from 53 subscribers the minute I hit
75.
the video. I'm up to 75 now. Yeah.
Nice.
I think I'm
Nice.
76.
Everybody's been really sweet.
76. Nice.
Yeah.
I am going
thank
to
you so
share Tina's video here in the. Please, guys, check it out. Not just because I'm in it, but because I'm in it. You know, and I make the worst take ever because I should have stuck at 30 mil, but I said 55 mil opening, and I'm gonna
Over
stick with
55.
Over 55. You have to keep saying the over.
Yes.
But this was video gold. I mean, I was looking for inspiration forever, and I kept talking to my husband, "What am I going to do a first video on? Nobody likes what I like," and I'm like, oh, "This is perfect." As soon as you said the words, "I'm taking all the bad takes now. Sit down, Bojan." I'm like, "That's it."
Oh,
Who
that
said
was my
50?
bad
Who
take.
said that's going to make $50 million? Is that you, Scott?
Well, I first said it would. They were telling me how much it was like in the teens, and I was like, no, I believe it's going to make over 30. I think people are underestimating the actors' pull of the Latino community, the teenage community, and angry white females. And then we were talking with Culture, and he kept throwing stuff, so I just had to keep one up in it. And I was like, well, he'll do 55 and
No,
would
he
over-
drops
I would
down. He's
over
like,
that
it's going to
tweet.
open bigger than the Flash. It's going to
Yeah,
be
I
the
did say
biggest hit of
that.
the summer.
I didn't remember what the Flash made.
I'm going to over under 25. I would say 25 probably the over under.
Over. Over.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
I
still
don't
guys will
think
be
they're
shocked.
over indexing it. I know that it's only a week out, so they've got more data, but it seems weird to think that this thing is going to pull that kind of number. The kids are back in school.
Mhm.
So they're not going to be going to the weekend movies the same way. They're going to have less showtimes. I don't know if you've noticed, but now that kids are going back to school, movie theaters, because they're really on a tight budget right now,
Yeah.
are
Not
cutting
showing
down
early stuff.
showtimes.
Yeah.
They're like during the weekdays, they're not even running
There's no
showtimes
morning
after
shows.
like 8 o'clock too. There's like their window is, and that's what I used to do when I was running a theater that AMC had sent us to. That was one we got in our buyout of General Cinemas.
Mhm.
And it was in Springfield Mall, Virginia, if anyone remembers that one. It was terrible. It was run down, and it was basically we were riding the time on the lease till we could close it. And our attendance, I kid you not, I've told Slender this, was like 10 for the day. We had 10 theaters, and total weekday attendance would be like 10 people.
Wow.
So that we average one person per theater per day, and we were supposed to do multiple showtimes. So we our showtimes ran from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. We basically did 2 shows of whatever movies we were running. And theaters it's weird to see successful theaters running that kind of schedule, because that's I can, having the business background on theaters, I can say that is we have no money for maintenance. We're trying to keep the bulb life. Like the bulbs in theaters only have certain number of hours, and so you only want to make it productive, because they're like a couple grand to replace those bulbs. And you don't want to have to pay that if you don't want to, which is why also when if you go to the theaters and you're like, the screen is really dim, it's because they're riding past this useful lifespan of the bulb, and they don't want to change it in that theater. Oh. And so that movie is going to be, it's got so many handicaps coming out late August. Late August is already a dead period.
Yep.
And schools have started going back
earlier this year. Yeah. But there's no buzz.
When does this movie release again?
Friday.
This weekend.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's going to be
tomorrow.
Awesome. No.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow. So Thursday.
Tomorrow's the previews.
It's going to be amazing. People, dude.
It's going to be a complete disaster. Ooh. Normie buzz is like negative. The normies will be like, Blue Beetle, what? Like, I mean, that would be my response from people.
No, but see, there's a lot of people that love Cobra Kai, and they love this kid.
No, I get that. Zolo is carrying the box office on his shoulders. So
that's
it.
What's Zolo's last name, Scott?
Cobra Kai.
Here's something funny for you, Scott. In 1997, I just looked it up. Spawn opened in August to like $19 million. I feel like that's going to be where the over/under is. What Spawn, that terrible adaptation, the costumes even look similar.
Yeah,
with John Leguizamo was in it. With I think Michael Jai White was playing Spawn. And that opened and Spawn was at peak like popularity. That was 90s Spawn popularity. Blue Beetle is still a deep cut. Like the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle is still not even the original one.
I think normies will go see this, man. I'm telling you. Author Stephen Walton's got to bounce. So thank you, author. Let him know where you're at. What's going on? What are you doing to him?
See, not too much going on, author Stephen Walton. Please check out my channel, Adonis Dragonstorm. Remember to support each other, support your independent creators, be kind to each other, be good to each other, suffer no fools, and have a great night. Good seeing you guys. Take care.
Take care, Steve.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Thank God he's gone. Jeez. That guy. He's a witch. But yeah, I've seen reports about he's a legit fighter.
Yeah, he is.
Michael J.
He's cut, man.
Dude, like he knew how to fight. He knew how to fight.
He should have been like some sort of character that really could have been expanded upon.
If anybody hasn't seen Black Dynamite, that movie is like the send off of blaxploitation movies of the 70s.
Yep.
It is hilarious. It is completely on point. It's how you do a real spoof with love, instead of just trying to like rip something. And it was great.
I used to love I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Oh, that one was fantastic.
Show me my big toe.
That was awesome.
I love that.
What'd you get this medal for? This is for filing. This was for the rubber band competition. Dude, and slender nose. There are like the Air Force guys will get medals for that kind of thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. We got to go back. Because Scott, the big toe getting shot off was Harlem Nights, wasn't it?
No, that's another part too. The toe got shot off.
No. He's right, because the big toe was where he got the corn.
Yeah, he got the corn.
He didn't shoot it off. Harlem Nights was he shot off the big toe.
Shot off is Harlem Nights. The corn is
Harlem Nights is another one that got
like Harlem Nights.
Got crapped on when it came out, but like that part where where Arsenio Hall's yelling at him from outside the building and Eddie Murphy's in there. It's like, it's that movie. Was it Red Fox, Eddie Murphy, and Richard Pryor? Like you want to talk about an all-star cast of people right there.
But he gets to shoot Della Reese's baby toe off, man.
That's right. It was Della Reese's baby toe.
Della Reese, baby.
You know what movie I just started? I haven't finished. Well, not just started. I'm probably like close to 3/4 of the way through. Is they cloned Tyrone? I think that's what it's called on Netflix. Dude, it's a good movie with Jamie Foxx, Finn from the Star Wars sequels. What's his name?
Oh, John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega, and the girl who plays in the Marvels, Rambeau, the actress who plays. She's awesome.
Oh, Teyana Paris.
Dude, it just goes to show you when you give people good parts and good writing, a good story, that talent does show through. Like, she is
Kiefer
really good.
Sutherland.
Oh, Kiefer Sutherland is a badass, and she's a prostitute. Boyega's a drug dealer. Fox is a pimp, and it's a warped movie about it. I won't tell you what it's about because it's one of those movies you just got to watch.
Kiefer Sutherland's pretty solid, man. You can go back.
Dude,
I mean, Young Guns 1 and 2.
Yep.
Great. He's got a very conflicted character. That, I mean, if you want to go Dark City, where he's playing the doctor who's conspiring with. Well, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it, but. Dark City, by the way, better than Matrix, greater than Matrix. Matrix ripped off a lot of Dark Cities.
Matrix used the sets even for that.
Yeah, they even use the same sets. I love people will see
and stuff like that. Yeah,
people will see Dark City now and be like, "That was such a Matrix ripoff," and be like, "It came out like 18 months before."
It's like a prequel.
Yeah.
Now I have to.
You've never seen Dark City?
No, I've never seen.
Oh yeah, you're unsub now, folks. He's never seen Dark City. Make sure he sees Dark City, then you come back and sub again. Yeah, Holy cow, dude! You got to take a break right now. Go see that.
Yeah, I have to, man. What's
Rufus Sewell, I think I pronounced his name right.
Sewell, I think. Yeah, he's great.
Who was also great in A Knight's Tale, which is an underrated movie.
Oh, I love Knight's Tale. Great movie. Great movie. It took me a while to enjoy the music portion of it, but it's a good movie.
Oh, you mean when they're doing David Bowie dance scenes?
Yeah, it's
the only thing I don't like about that whole movie is that he yells William at the end. It's like, dude, you're yelling your own name as though that has some sort of effect.
It was it was symbolism. It was
cringe. It was fucking cringe.
It was like in The Simpsons.
Jeffrey, the poet.
Oh, are you talking about Geoffrey Chaucer?
Yeah, Chaucer.
As played by Vision himself.
Great role. Sutherland has a great show out right now. I think it's only I've only watched season 1. I don't think there's more.
24.
No. I loved that show when it first came out, but he has a new one where it is a really good what is going on.
I saw that. I don't remember what
it
it's
is
called
good.
either, but yeah,
it is good. It's all about.
I'm kind of like so over the mind like shows where it's mystery boxes because so many of them crap their landing.
No,
like where it's a mystery box that Slender. What was the one that was recommended to us in our chat that was supposed to be, and then everybody watched it and said it was terrible, and so we didn't buy the subscription.
Or whatever.
It was it was like, and I know Mads was telling like it's just a mystery box that has nothing in it. It's just more mystery box after mystery box.
I didn't get through season 1, but I watched season 1 and I've stopped because the sub thing changed or whatever on me, and I kept going. Most of my commentary is like, well, is there going to be an answer? Is it going to be lost? Is it going to be And I think that's where From ended up. I didn't watch season 2 though, so I don't want to totally judge.
Of what? From? Well,
From season
check
2,
out Rabbit Hole. That is the
Rabbit
Sutherland
Hole
show, dude. It is good. Like the first, his dad. Well, I won't say.
I don't want to know. It's fine. If you think it's good, I'll put it on the list.
His dad's a great actor. His dad's a
great
actor.
What all this makes me think, like, if you look at the streaming ratings, what you'll notice, and Slender and I always would talk about it, like procedurals that don't have any of these mystery boxes, none of this stuff, are always crushing everything else in these streaming ratings. Like once an NCIS, right now Suits is dominating because it just got put on Netflix. Once these shows get on there, I think people are just so much happier watching a show that wraps up in an hour.
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
Hey, if Law and Order was ever to land on,
would we call that episodic, or is episodic the type?
No, it's so episodic is standalone episode. What serialized is when it's a continuation of the story.
Okay,
and
so
I swear,
between like X-Files, where there's like an underlying story, but it's really about the monster of the week.
I do love that.
That is still like, I think, episodic.
Yeah, I think it's episodic.
That's where you have episode arcs and season arcs.
Yeah. Like the big thing, Star Trek Next Generation was like that, where they would have, continue, where they'd have story threads that would pick up like with lore or other things. But once they got to Deep Space Nine and it kind of faltered at the start, they let Ron Moore convert it to being serialized storytelling with the Dominion War, and that's where that one took off. And then they went back to episodic with Voyager. I mean, it's great. I think
a favor, try Rabbit Hole, okay?
Rabbit Hole.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't consider this one a mystery box. It is just more of a who done it and where it's going type thing. Like what's going on. It's not mystery box though. Like things get explained throughout the series or the season, so that you're not too far behind. Okay,
it's more
so there's
spy thriller than it is
It's
mystery
a spy,
box.
yeah, I guess a spy thriller. It's not. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. Even though his character is not, but in a way is.
I just looked it up. Law and Order is streaming on Peacock. Peacock should be advertising the shit out of Law and Order being on there, because that thing. I remember when it was on TNT and you could just put it on background like all day long when I was in college. Like,
shit, they did it with Charmed. You know what I mean? TNT would run Charmed for 4 hours in the morning.
Exactly. Whenever we go on vacation and, the boys would be either, going out hiking or biking, whatever they were doing, I would just like sit down in front of the television and just chill for 12 hours, just watch episode after episode after episode, because I would never get to watch that stuff during the week. So it was all new to me.
Scott, did you cover how mismanaged Peacock is?
No, but it is.
So I read this today by accident. I don't need to share it. I'll just go through real quick. They added 2 million subscribers. This is it's from like the end of July. Yeah. They added 2 million. I'm like, holy crap! They added subscribers, and it's like, oh, they grew their revenue, and the revenue is like $820 million, but they've lost $650 million. Like, oh my gosh, their costs are through the roof. They have no cost control measures at all. They have all this money coming in. Subscribers are growing. People are going to go there, and then they can't stop spending money. They can't manage the cost.
Do you want to know how they added all those subscribers?
Well, they probably just gave it away, right? I mean,
yes. So I'm an Xfinity customer.
Yes,
and all of a sudden I got an email that said, "Hey, as an Xfinity internet customer of this threshold, you now get Peacock Premium for 2 years."
And it's also available to students for like $1.85 a month. For college students.
So
it's noted. It's noted in the article. It wasn't excluded from the coverage. They discussed it in the coverage.
Yeah.
So they talk about Xfinity. They talk about how the Comcast had changed the free tier and things like that. So I get all of that, but the biggest take home for me is we'll see these numbers sometimes about they added subscribers, and more importantly, they added money. But the problem is with the cost. The cost is so ridiculous. Like, this is the Warner Brother thing. Everyone's talking about the Gunverse and all this other stuff. I'm like, they were mathematically losing almost $1 billion per month.
Yep.
What kind of loan are they going to have for 10? There's no way. This is good a lot. They've got it.
No, that's why.
I want you on a. Oh, sorry.
That's why Zaslav.
I want you on a cultural. You and culture doing.
That's why Zaslav made the drastic change to return to licensing content. Warner Brothers Television.
Yes. Yeah,
people
Max
don't
made
understand.
Money.
Warner Brothers Television is the top maker of TV shows. Like, and if you go back, that's what they did. Friends. They did it. I mean, you don't think about like Warner Brothers being in the TV business, but they've made massive TV hits. And they used to license. Warner Brothers used to get $100 million a year from Netflix just for Friends, just to play Friends.
Right.
Yep.
A show that had no cost to them to make at all anymore. So that was basically, I mean, aside from probably having to pay royalty fees, whatever the fees are, you got to figure they are at least clearing minimum 50 million in profit out of that 100. If half of it was going to fees.
But this was a topic for Sony, because Sony doesn't have a streaming service, and they've made all this money through their licensing. So they're actually in the positive.
Now, here's the thing, though, Pops. People forget Sony was one of the first people who failed at their streaming service.
Correct.
They did it through PlayStation. They had a PlayStation streaming service, because I remember they did an adaptation of Powers, the comic book.
Oh, right.
By Brian Michael Bendis.
Yep.
And that was a PlayStation exclusive. And I had PlayStation Plus from my gaming, so I was like, oh, I guess I'll watch this show and I'll see how much they butchered this great comic series, and they did. And they bailed on it so fast. It was like that was the one show they tried. It didn't get traction, and then they're like, peace out. Sony's not. We're closing down the PlayStation streaming, television platform, and we're getting out and getting into licensing because in Japan they're like, if it's not going to turn a profit quickly, it's not worth continuing. And that's what we're seeing now with these streaming, like Peacock, which is NBC Universal. They own The Office. They own Law and Order. They have all these shows that they could be licensing out for millions of dollars a quarter in profit to Netflix.
That they did license out.
Exactly.
Before, and they pulled them back. And it's like, now you're losing money because you can't get your costs under control.
Yeah, and so streaming is like the biggest Trojan horse to destroy entertainment business, because you immediately start removing your content that was your library content that was earning you money. Then you turn around and you put it on your own streaming services. So now you have to actually pay money to host your own content that you used to make money on.
They got greedy, man.
What they do is they now train the customers that all the movies, the first run theatrical content that they used to then get tiers of money for. I mean, when theatrical content, first it would go to home video and you would make money off that.
DVD sales.
Yep. The DVD sales would be about 4 to 5 months after the movie came out in the theaters. It used to be longer, but it got, 4, 5, 6 months. Then within 8 to 12 months, it would be on cable. It would have its cable premiere, and they would usually get $50 to $100 million depending on the level of hit. It tiered down. The lower the hit, the lower they paid a lot. But even crap movies would still get several $1 million to license to play on FX or any of these other channels or HBO or whatever. Then you would then turn around and still be able to license it in the future to streaming services like Netflix when they were up and running to get more lifetime content money out of it too,
and back to network and back to network TV,
exactly.
Like A&E or TCM and stuff like that. Yeah.
So movies, when they were theatrically released, represented a 10 to 15 year profit cycle for a studio. You weren't talking like the reason they would say, "Oh, we're comfortable giving a $90 million budget to this movie," is because they know that your return on the investment will be a 15-year return on that money.
Yeah.
Now that return on investment has disappeared. If you don't make that money back theatrically, you never make it back because they've destroyed. Like they don't even print like physical media to sell a lot of times.
Yeah, I know we're on the clock, so we can't get it. That's a whole rabbit hole too, because they're stopping physical media right now. They're killing it,
which is terrible.
Yeah, I think Australia completely stopped selling physical media. They don't even print it.
Yeah, that's true. They just started doing that recently, I think. 15 people watching on Rumble. Thank you guys very much. Follow me on Rumble. Please thumbs up it. I'd like to do more stuff exclusively on Rumble. Let's grow that. And YouTube, thank you for the 21, 22 people watching on YouTube too, but YouTube hates us. Real quick, also something that really sucked when they started these like Paramount and Peacock and this is that they like, the football, if you were an NFC guy an NFC, you would have to watch it on Fox streaming, and if you wanted, CBS's was
AFC
Patriots, the AFC, so you would have to get that to watch. It just pissed me off that they started doing shit like that too. But real quick, the first ever celebrity that ever responded to me in a tweet and retweeted and actually DM'd a little bit, really nice guy. He was in Game of Thrones, lesser known character. His name was Darren Kent. He just passed away recently. I didn't know that until just now. Darren Kent has been in a lot of things. He was battling, I thought it was cancer. I don't know the exact illness, for a very long time. And still he was in a lot of different shows, Game of Thrones. He was in, they have it down here, a lot of British people, but he got really sick. He was only 36 years old.
He was in the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. The new Dungeons and Dragons, they just came out this year. Yeah,
it was, which I enjoyed actually. Snow White and the Huntsman, he was in, and he was always appearing in different shows. he was in Mirrors, the Little Stranger. It's sad to see, he won't get that much press, but he seemed like a good, like he was battling something for a very long time and appreciated every moment he had, it seemed like. And first guy who ever I consider a celebrity retweeted and then, actually DM'd a little bit. He was a really nice guy. And it's sad to see that. So to his family and friends, there's been quite a few deaths recently, actually. The Moss, who founded A&M Records, passed away at 88. The Police, Janet Jackson, the Carpenters. So he was a well-known figure. So a lot going on in the news, but we are going to wrap it up, everybody. We do want to send you over to Rumble to watch Dick's Division. Those guys are fantastic. I'm going to put the link in the description of both Rumble and YouTube, so you guys can go check them out. Let them know we sent you over there, because those guys are great. And comics is always supported me since we became, started streaming together back in the day on the round table. So please check those guys out. Guys, this has been fun. I hope to see you guys all again Wednesday. This was a really good discussion in time. Pops, please come anytime. I enjoy talking to you,
sorry
man.
guys, I can't always make Wednesdays. I juggle my schedule and my streaming limitations, but I would say it worked out. So, oh man, yeah, I had an earmark to get on here. I kind of lost track of time. I was like, oh crap, I'm already late. So yeah, it's great, man. I always love hanging out. Wonderful chat, wonderful folks here on the panel. And yeah, I'm serious with a couple of you guys. We're talking about comic books and stuff like that. Hit me up. I do a weekly comic book talk on Wednesdays. Love to talk about some of this kind of stuff. I love talking nerdy.
Yeah, it was a fun show, guys. And I think Kate J has it perfect. Let them do their premium stuff and some of the legacy stuff. The rest go on Netflix, Prime, or Hulu or something like that. Grant, thank you for saying it's a great show. Little Chad, let them know where they can find you. Thanks for being here, my man.
Yeah, Slender and I co-host the Ascendant Art podcast, which we run on Friday nights about 9 p.m. Eastern, or within a few minutes of that start time. And so the channel is actually called Ascendant Art. If you, I think Tina's popped it in the chat before, so you can find us over there. We've been doing Streamapaloozas the last few weeks, where we let everybody co-stream to their channels, and it's been pretty entertaining. So hopefully, if you come on over and watch the show, you'll probably see Tina in the chat. She is usually about to take her Ambien, so Mr. Bojan says that she's not responsible for the things she says in chat at that point. So,
now we're
so it's always good times.
We're like 20 people now on Rumble. It's all of a sudden growing. Hey, Rumble, we start at 7 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday before Yelling at Parked Cars, so please make sure you guys come back next week to watch us. And Saturday, we will be doing an hour on YouTube with Rumble streaming together, but then we're going to go to Rumble exclusive, and that show now is random. What did I call it? Talking Random. It's no longer the dump on Saturdays. Talking Random. So we only have one dump now. So please, guys, make sure you check that out. Slender, let them know where they can find you, and if you got anything going on.
I don't have anything special going on right now, and since Lil Chad already went through that, I'll just say you can find me wherever Lil Chads are sold.
And Bad Takes Bojan, first video. Please follow her on YouTube, guys. Great video. Not just saying that because I make a terrible prediction, which will come true this weekend. But Tina, let them know where they can.
Well, you can find me on my YouTube channel as well as on Twitter at Tina Bojan. I think my ability to make a first video on my mentor, Scott, he's been the most awesomest supportive person since I jumped on a stream, and that's just been wonderful. So love you guys. And please join us on Friday nights at Ascendant Art Podcast. I just put the link into the channel again. It is an awesome stream each week. You can also find me Cause of Trouble, and I'm not on Scott's channel. I'm on Vinny Art's channel on both Fridays at around 5 p.m. Eastern, only for about an hour, and then also Sunday evenings. So that's Vinny Art. He's a great...
he has Rumble too, right?
Yes, he absolutely does Rumble. We usually start on YouTube and Rumble, and then after, about halfway through, we just jump over for the rest of the stream on Rumble to really let loose and be crazy. And there's a bunch of wonderful creators on there. and they let Trina, Real Horror, and I be the only gals on. So that's a lot of fun. So we try to keep the boys in line.
And this is where Pops did an interview with me. We had a great time. We got to hang out again on your channel. That was a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely.
And
anytime.
I'm hoping to get back to my Beatles stuff too, because we were having fun with that in a
rock
Song
and
of
roll,
Ice and
baby.
Fire. So we will see that soon, guys, and hopefully that 70s rock fan. I always mess up his name of his channel, but he is an encyclopedia. So much. I literally just say something and then he talks for like 20 minutes and I just listen. So check out those Beatles streams, guys, if you're into music. But I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. Go over to Comics Division on Rumble. Let them know we sent you. Hopefully that'll become the 1-2 punch on Wednesday nights. And I hope everybody has a great night. And we will go out with, you know what? We'll go out with my aluminum spork, which I'm going to change to, if you're still out there, Grant, we're going to change the title from aluminum spork to, what was it? Talking Random or something like that. Have a great night, everybody. I hope everybody is safe, healthy, and happy. Peace.
Aluminum spot.